Hi there, welcome back. We're going to be talking about story essentials today. So, as we've explored, when I describe tropes, there are some settings that lend themselves to being more conducive to sweet romance. Keep in mind, setting isn't always about the place where the characters are at, although that is one of the three types. So, when we take a look at the three types, the first kind of setting is temporal. This is about the time period or the era. Contemporary, happening now, Regency in the past, Wild West, Roaring Twenties. The second kind of setting is environmental, which includes weather, geographic location, which could be stormy, sunny, snowy, etc., and geographic location, which is East Coast, Midwest, mountains, and location within those parameters of city, suburban, country, small town. And the final setting type is individual to the character. This is the specific scene settings that are unique to your character's life, like the character's home, work, church, coffee shop that they frequent. All of these personalized places set a reader into the story from the character's point of view. Often, the first place a reader gets a hint of setting is on the cover. So let's go to Amazon and see what's popular for settings based on covers right now, and then we'll talk about what some standards for sweet romance are. All right, let's get out of this share and hold on. Okay, and I will share the other screen for Amazon. I've already opened it up, got it all ready to go there. All right, perfect. Okay, so this is the bestsellers in clean and wholesome romance, and all I did was I typed into Google clean and wholesome romance, but I will put a link to this. Actually, there is a link to this in your workbook. It's back in, I think, like the third chapter-ish. All right, so we're looking at these covers and we're trying to get the setting based on the cover. Don't look at the words, don't look at anything else. Let's just look at the settings based on covers and how they look. This one, obviously travel, so road could be possibly a little bit of country. I think that's a donkey right there. And it also says laugh out loud right there. Liz Isaacson over here has a man on a horse with a dog following behind. So you can definitely think that's either country or it's small town. Going through more. Oh, right here. This is a very popular setting, beach. So this, I mean, is seriously, it's as beachy as you can get, right? Next, we have this one, Cross Cowboy, which we've talked about before, right? And this one, it has the cabin with a lake, a couple of Adirondack chairs, really nice kind of country, maybe even mountain, obviously, in the background, mountain setting. And then we have another beach, some Amish here, which country, because you can see a barn in the background. This one, it appears to be a winter setting, so that would be weather, right? Next, let's go down a couple more. Again, we have beach. These ones that have the characters that have no face, they definitely are harder to pinpoint. This one you can definitely see that there's a city setting in the back, so we're given a little taste of setting, but not really a whole lot to go off of on these. This is definitely a much more contemporary cover that are definitely starting to grab hold. Again, beach or water. Oh, there's a lighthouse, so we know beach. This one, cowboy hat, always indicates. And this one, country as well. So let's come on back and we will continue talking about this more. Okay, so you can see that countryside setting is popular, beach definitely popular, and a holiday setting is popular all year round. So if you're doing a sweet romance, settings often found are, first up is the era, which is either contemporary or historical. I will mainly emphasize stories set in modern times, but historical romances can definitely be sweeter, clean, and wholesome. Second is environmental. This includes season and weather. A popular season in sweet romance is snowy winter setting. This includes all of the books that usually come out in December, and the top 50 books in the Clean and Wholesome as of February 2022 have a lot of winter settings in them. We can often find that this is a warm and cozy setting with, think of things like by the fireside, warm blankets and hot chocolate. And winter is the season of hope. Other seasons, like spring, can indicate rebirth. Summer can indicate playfulness and relaxation. And fall can indicate a change and out with the old and with the new mentality. So up next, we have the geographic location. And currently, mountains are popular. Midwest is popular. And along the coastal regions are popular. However, series that are set in one state, like Alaska, or one region, are also popular. Like if you had the Midwest, and then you could have stories in states like Kansas, Dakotas, Nebraska, and Iowa. For some, it's familiar. And for some readers, it's new. And readers like to learn about new places. A quick word of caution. I am from Omaha, so that's in Nebraska. I have lived in the Midwest for all of my life and probably always will. But I will still get readers who say to me, that doesn't happen in Nebraska, when I know it does. If I write in a foreign geography, like my series set in Alaska, I usually try to find a friend or a fellow author who lives there, and I can run a few events past them to make sure that I'm giving the readers an authenticity that they deserve to the location. I highly suggest that you do the same. Next up, we'll have a place within that geographic location, which is country, small town, very popular. It's the feeling of honesty and people knowing people, which, remember, isn't always a good thing, but it can be great for conflict. So farm or ranch goes along with country and small town, and when we narrow down the setting element. Beach setting is also popular. A beach is meant to indicate a getaway from it all. That kind of romance where you just lose yourself thinking while walking in the sand, digging your toes in, and it's hearing the relaxing and repetitive splashing of waves on the beach. But along with that can come crashing waves and big storms creating extreme weather conditions. And who doesn't love the scene of lovers in the rain? It's a cleansing moment and can have readers swooning. Lastly, we have city, which for billionaire sweet romance is very popular. I think of the high-rise penthouse or corporate jet-setting world. And with that comes conflict of opposite worlds, perhaps a man who is used to getting what he wants, and a woman who might be a fish out of water. Remember, these are only suggestions. You can write your story wherever you wish. These are just popular and time-tested with readers. Again, familiar is very good for readers. So a question I get is, should you use a real city or invent a fictional one? So I get this all the time from authors I coach. When it comes to using an actual town, city, or place, that is up to you. I tend to invent places that are modeled after a city and a state, like Bluebell Falls in Alaska is modeled after the small town of Talkeetna, mixed with a little of Sitka in there. I did my research and took the parts from each that would make for the right setting for my story. The only thing you don't want to do is disparage a location or place, especially an actual business. This could be seen as libelous and could incur legal action. Granted, it doesn't happen normally, but why take the chance? This is the opportunity to make a place and all of the businesses in it instead of living within the parameters of an existing place. For instance, in the proposal, the place it's set in is Sitka, Alaska. Remember I used that? So the setting is in the spring, and this relates to Andrew's renewal of his relationship with his father and his parents. Sitka is a small town, and as we see on the proposal, most of the businesses have the Paxton name, which is Andrew's last name. So it's Paxton Laundry, Paxton Bank, Paxton, a lot of businesses. This is a revelation to the heroine, Margaret's character, that she doesn't really know Andrew. We also get to see that his parents own basically a mansion on an island, and she's shocked that he's not what she thought he was. So, in this setting, we're getting beach and water with the small town feel, and that is a good thing to mix it up. So, lastly, we have places that are specific to the character as setting. This includes their home, their work, and any place that you will have the character go, like church, restaurants, and coffee shops, and also shopping places. These places often indicate something about the character and can make them feel different ways. For instance, in the proposal movie, like I said, the home of the parents is large and looming, and it makes the heroine Margaret feel uncomfortable. She was an orphan at 16 and didn't grow up in a home like that, only taking care of herself and concentrating on becoming this high powered woman. She doesn't understand family because she had hers taken away. And when she sees how close the Paxtons are, and she actually starts to fit into their family, she gets uncomfortable, and the setting becomes almost smothering to her. So, in some ways, family is a setting for her as well. She says, I forgot what it's like to have a family. It's a very touching moment that's vulnerable for Margaret. And Andrew realizes how broken she is in that moment and how he could be her family. So, other setting elements that we see in sweet romance can be the characters around your hero and heroine. These characters contribute a setting to the story. Think about the grumpy neighbor who ends up helping in the end, the wise grandmother who gives the best advice that you don't really realize is advice until the end, and the nosy hairstylist who maybe acts as a matchmaker. Remember, those character archetypes we just talked about help you to enrich the setting with vibrant secondary characters. For instance, in the proposal movie, there's a grandmother played by the legendary and rest in peace Betty White. So she's this welcoming force of nature who gets Margaret to come out of her shell. And we see this in a scene where they're dancing around a fire in the woods, and the grandmother has Margaret chanting about whatever she's feeling. It's the first time that Andrew sees the true Margaret. She lets her hair down. This is where we start to see a lot of change in their relationship. So, as you can see, setting doesn't include just the weather. It also includes people, and it could include animals, children, and a lot of other elements. All of these help to enrich your story. There is a sheet in the workbook labeled Setting Basics to get you started. Don't forget to include setting as one of your story essentials. So, up next is the 12 stages of intimacy and how missing one of them may make your readers uncomfortable. Come on back.